She kicked him out because he was broke. She mocked him, handed him divorce papers, and watched him walk away with nothing. But months later, at a grand dinner filled with governors, foreign investors, and even the president himself, she saw him again. No longer the man she once knew. Now, she wants him back. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more jaw-dropping stories like this one. It was supposed to be just another mission, a peacekeeping assignment in a neighboring country. Soldiers gathered, the helicopter was ready, and everything seemed normal. At the center of it all was Major General Musa, a man both feared and respected. He was known for his sharp uniform, commanding voice, and strict discipline. But behind that image of honor and power was a dark secret: corruption. Every month, the government sent millions meant to buy weapons, bullets, and protective gear for soldiers fighting terrorists. But instead of using the money for that, General Musa kept most of it for himself. He didn't trust banks. He didn't trust people. So he built a secret, a hidden wall inside the bedroom of his private mansion. From the outside, it looked normal, painted white like every other wall. But behind it was a hollow chamber big enough to hide several black bags. And inside those bags was money. So much money that one could buy houses, cars, and land, and still have enough left to travel the world. Each time funds came in, the general collected the cash and quietly stashed it inside that secret wall. No one knew. Not his wife. Not his guards. Not even the workers who built the house. He told himself that when he retired, he'd take the money and disappear out of the country. That was his plan. But fate had other ideas. On the morning of his final mission, General Musa wore his best uniform. He looked at himself in the mirror, adjusted his cap, and smiled proudly. As the helicopter lifted off the ground, he looked out the window, not knowing it would be the last time he'd ever see his mansion again. Barely 15 minutes into the flight, something went wrong. The helicopter shook violently. Then came thick smoke, and a loud bang. Soldiers on the ground could only watch in horror as the aircraft exploded in the sky and crashed into a dense forest. No survivors. The general and everyone on board died that day. For days, the news filled every headline. The nation mourned. The army promised to investigate. But as time passed, the memory of General Musa faded away. His once guarded mansion now stood silent and abandoned, holding a secret that no one knew was hidden within its walls. Years later, the government announced a major road expansion, a new flyover to reduce traffic in the city. Engineers came, mapped the area, and realized the flyover would pass directly through the late general's property. The decision was made: the mansion had to be demolished. Soon, bulldozers rolled in. The once powerful general's house, once guarded by armed soldiers, now stood weak and empty, waiting to be torn apart. Nobody knew that behind one of those walls lay a fortune that would soon fall into the hands of a man who least expected it. A man who had been insulted, abandoned, and called useless. But destiny was about to change his story. At the construction site, there was one person who spoke kindly to him, a woman laborer. "David," she said one day, "you don't look happy. Try to smile. Life won't always be like this." Those words stayed with him. He was tired, but not broken. Struggling, but still standing. Little did he know, fate was watching. And soon, one swing of a hammer would open the door to a life he could never have imagined. Back home, the rice was ready when his wife's voice echoed from the living room. "David, what are you still doing in that kitchen? Get me my breakfast, I'm late for work." He didn't answer, just served the food and placed it on the table. She grabbed it, didn't look at him, and stormed out, slamming the door behind her. At her office, she was known as the Iron Lady. Sharp heels, bold lipstick, confident walk. Everyone respected her, and feared her. And lately, she had become very close to her boss, the company's CEO, Mr. Fred. He was rich, connected, and powerful, the kind of man who didn't need to talk loud to command a room. At first, their friendship seemed innocent. Short chats, quick laughs. Then came lunch outings, gifts, and private rides home. One day, she came home early, dressed beautifully, with Fred right behind her. David was surprised. "This is my boss," she said casually. David greeted him politely. After Fred left, David pulled her aside. "Why would you bring your boss into our house without telling me?" he asked softly. She scoffed. Who are you to question me? I pay the rent, I feed this family. You're just there. David was stunned. She handed him some money. Go buy us drinks. Something expensive. He left quietly. When he returned, Fred was gone, but the living room smelled of perfume and something else. David bent down and saw used condoms under the couch. His heart shattered. Amaka, what is this? He whispered. She crossed her arms. Exactly what condoms are for. David stared at her, his voice shaking. How could you bring your boss into our home? How could you disrespect me like this? She laughed coldly. This house. I pay for it. I pay the bills. I feed you. Don't talk to me about respect. David swallowed hard. You think because you pay rent, you can do anything? If you don't like it, you can leave, she snapped. He nodded slowly, pain burning deep in his chest. Someday, you'll regret this, he said quietly, then walked out. David wandered the streets until he found a small bar. He sat in the corner, quietly sipping a drink, lost in thought. He had once had everything: money, respect, family. Now, he had nothing. A man sitting nearby recognized him. Hey, I know you, he said. You work at that site near Chisco Road, right? David nodded. The man smiled. I'm Bala. Tomorrow, we're starting a new job, demolishing an old general's house. They're building a flyover there. You should come. Ask for Engineer Mike. Tell him I sent you. David shook his hand. Thank you. That night, he lay awake, thinking. Something told him this job wasn't ordinary. Something inside whispered, your story is about to change. The next morning, David arrived early at the construction site. It was the old mansion of a late Army general, abandoned, dusty, and half-torn. Engineer Mike handed him a sledgehammer. If you don't finish your section, no pay, he warned. David nodded. I understand. He swung the hammer again and again. His hands hurt. His back ached. But he kept going. By afternoon, while others rested, David kept working, determined to finish. Then, thud. The hammer hit something strange. Not brick. He looked closer. A small crack appeared in the wall. He hit it again. Then again. A piece broke off, revealing something black hidden inside. A bag. A heavy black bag. He pulled it out slowly, unzipped it, and froze. Stacks of foreign currency. Hundreds of bundles wrapped neatly in plastic. Tens of millions, maybe more. David's hands shook. He looked around. No one had seen him. Quietly, he zipped the bag, slipped it into his backpack, and walked out casually, then ran. He ran until he reached home. Behind the curtain, he placed the bag down carefully. On the table sat divorce papers, signed by her, unsigned by him. He stared at them, then whispered to himself, maybe this is it. Maybe this is my turn.